Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video about CMBS's, which is commercial mortgage-backed securities. We all know the situation that's happening with Evergrande in China, and there's multiple now companies are coming out with defaults. So I wanted to talk about America and the commercial mortgage-backed securities and how they're affecting the situation now. And now people aren't talking about it, but if you do your research, please, I don't want to sit here and read an article and throw out the gibberish that I read in the article. Please look up CMBS loans, mortgages, and understand their default rates that are going up. Understand that this is something that in 2008, it was the residential side. This time, we know that the market is going to crash, but we don't know what's going to cause the market crash. In my opinion, the Federal Reserve can only do so much. Throw out 40-year mortgages, increase interest rates, and so commercial mortgage-backed securities are basically loans that are backed up by the government that are on hotels, retail, shopping centers, any office space, industrial, warehouses, commercial properties. And not just that, but big commercial. We're not just talking $1 to $2 million, although I think there's a limit on it, but yeah, there are certain $1 to $2 million properties, but we're talking like 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, $300 million properties that get these loans. And those loans defaults are increasing, and I feel like that is going to be the next thing to drop. And the reason is, obviously, with mortgage forbearance being over and whatnot, and people refinancing their mortgages and whatnot, all of those foreclosures are coming in January. I don't see them coming anytime soon. It takes 90 days to foreclose on people. People are refinancing their mortgages. Even if they do 40-year mortgage refinances and stuff, they're still in trouble, in my opinion. I think the January, February, March is when we're, possibly even April, is when we're going to see those foreclosures coming through. So that's the residential side. Commercial mortgage-backed securities, there's an issue with that, because although that, you know, there was lenders that worked with it when hotels closed during the pandemic, when people stopped going to the office and office space was not leased out, when retail centers, shopping centers closed during the pandemic, those people who did those loans on those properties, they worked with their owners and worked it out and made sure that that they didn't default, and that you know, they paid the bare minimum, maybe just interest only, or what have you. The problem now is in a traditional mortgage, you have 30 years fixed. Now, most cases it's 30-year fixed, but sometimes you can have a balloon, sometimes you can have like an adjustable rate mortgage, whatnot. But in a commercial loan, right, these CMBSs, in a commercial loan, you have balloon payments, and balloon payments are either 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, depending on, like, if you do a 20-year balloon, your interest rate's going to be, you know, really high, versus if you do a 5-year balloon, your interest rate can be lower. You can have interest only for 5 years, and in 5 years refinance, and that interest rate can be whatever the current market rate is. The problem is, the market is, the Federal Reserve said they're going to start tapering. If they start tapering and the interest rates go up, on one end, what they can do to save residential is have 40-year mortgages. So even if the interest rate goes to 5%, 6%, 7%, you extend the mortgage, the residential mortgage, from 30 years to 40 years to offset that monthly payment. Great, good job, U.S. government. But now, on the commercial side, when those interest rates go up from, right now they're like 2.5% to 3%, so 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%. Now, when those 5-year, 7-year, 10-year balloon payments come up and people want to refinance, when they refinance out of a 3% loan to a 6 or 7% loan on $100 million, do you know the difference in payment? And then on top of that, we're seeing record low retail sales. The Gap, the reason I bring that up is today the Gap stock just fell because their earnings were horrible. Macy's, all of these like even some online retailers, they say that from 2019 there's actually been a drop off in sales, so, especially coming into the holiday season, which means people aren't buying enough. So when you see that, so then retail sales are down. So all those shops, malls, how are they going to pay rent if there's not enough sales, especially during the holiday season? And then on the other end, you have office space where, in the Seattle area, Amazon and whatnot, they're actually telling people to stay at home. Don't come back. We don't need the office space. We can save money on rent and work from home and be just as efficient or even more efficient. So when you have things like that happening, then these commercial mortgage-backed securities, they are in trouble, in my opinion. And whenever those balloon payments are due and they're to refinance at a higher interest rate, what are you going to do? You're going to see defaults. You're going to see foreclosures on that. And here's the big kicker here is these CMBSs are part of a lot of pension funds. So when they're part of a lot of pension funds, what happens to your retirement when they start defaulting? What happens to your retirement when a $100 million building is only worth $50 million? That's something you have to think about. I thought about that and I said, man, we're going to go from residential to everyone's looking at residential, everyone's looking at the stocks, everyone's looking at used cars, everyone looking at gas prices going up. CMBSs, commercial mortgage-backed securities, that is where you're going to see, in my opinion, a huge target right now. It all depends on the Federal Reserve and what they do. If they don't taper, they keep the rates low, maybe we're good, but they can't do that forever. Those balloon payments are due. People got to refinance, and refinancing a $100 million building going from 3% to 5%. And most people, I don't know if you guys know that commercial loans are not just 30-year fixed loans. They have balloon payments, and most of the time, sometimes it's 3 years. Sometimes they'll give you a $100 million, $200 million loan for 3 years interest free, 5 years interest free, 10 years interest free, and then after that you have to either get a balloon payment or balloon payment means you pay the entirety of the loan, or you refinance. Now it's all great and dandy when the economy is great and you have a 3% interest rate, and then 5 years later you refinance and you're at like 3.1 or 3.2. Even then, on a $100 million loan, it makes a big difference. But could you imagine if it was 4%? Could you imagine if it was 5.5, 6%? It would almost double their payment. And then on the other end, retail's down, office is down, warehouses is down, everything is down commercial wise. So what are people going to do? What are these companies, these large corporations who rent these buildings, who own these buildings, what are they going to do? And so I feel like that might be a major crack in the system that people aren't paying attention to. So I want to make a video about it. So if you like this content, please thumbs it up. Please share it with people so that they are well informed also, and that they can see, hey, it's not just residential, it's commercial too. And commercial does affect you, because I bet anything, your 401k, your pension plan is deeply invested in CMBSs. And please Google that, look it up, and you'll learn something. So until the next video, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks. Bye.